Hey y'all, Kyle here with the video discussion thread on ethical violations and board discipline. So, some common reasons for the Washington Department of Health to discipline a counselor. Uh, Quite a few of them were for personal misconduct, of committing legitimate crimes. Not just for a counselor, but I mean for anybody, like burglary, theft, sexual harassment, I think is in there. I'm looking at assault, domestic violence, and harassment, domestic violence. Um, Substance abuse is a huge one. So those are some themes there. The overarching theme is personal misconduct outside of the health profession that they're in, because the document, the news release I'm looking at, uh, it covers all nurses, doctors, anybody that needs a like. Actually, I don't think it's doctors. I think doctors had a different one, but registered nurses, nurse practitioners, massage therapists, and of course counselors. But the overarching theme was personal misconduct, and then within that, sexual misconduct, and then substance abuse uh, by the license holder. One of the more recent cases, a agency affiliated counselor license was conditionally granted in January of this year. It was the credential was on probation for 2 years, or it is on probation for 2 years rather, during which the license holder must have a professional supervise her practice and submit quarterly performance evaluations. In October 2017, she was convicted of several counts of burglary, theft, and possession of stolen property. Um, and so, in that violation, she violated the the value of non-maleficence in the ACA preamble, and then also veracity. I get veracity and fidelity mixed up, um, but I mean probably both. I would say both. Fidelity normally talks about, or I'm sorry, veracity deals truthfully with individuals with whom counselors come into professional contact. So probably wasn't professional context. It could have been, um, but veracity and fidelity and non-maleficence, I mean, all three are violated. And you could probably squeeze justice in there if you really wanted to. What was the outcome of the board discipline? It was the 2 years of probation, and it might have been. Uh, she might have had it suspended previously. She might be coming off that suspension into probation. It doesn't say, or maybe that's how long the investigation took. Excuse me. Washington is not super specific there. What does the ACA Code of Ethics and my state code say about counselor impairment? Well, my state code doesn't say much. It's only 6 pages, and impairment does not come up on any of those 6 pages. Even then, there's nothing kind of relating to the theme. My hunch is that they assumed that the ACA 2014 Code of Ethics was sufficient in that regard. And they find that in section C.2.G, I want to say. I lost it. Yeah, C.2.G. I nailed it. I'm already memorizing the whole thing, word for word. That's not true. I'm not doing that. So counselors monitor themselves for signs of impairment from their own physical, mental, or emotional problems and refrain from offering or providing professional services when impaired. That's the ACA 2014 Code of Ethics. Um, and so, I mean, there's a problem. There's a maybe it's extreme to call it a mental problem to think that you can steal things from people, and that's just, or that's okay. Um, but there's some kind of problem there. And if the counselor is that morally compromised, they probably shouldn't be offering counseling. I think that section is more so talking about um, maybe emotional or whatever problem maybe that arises out of the counseling situation. Although I guess if you have a concussion, it probably wouldn't be ethical to practice counseling when you're not fully there. A question that comes to mind as I kind of look this over is, how do we deal with counselors and substance abuse? Is that a bigger problem than general public, or is this just the sample size that I'm seeing, and maybe Washington just has an issue with substance abuse, and it's nothing special to the counselor. But I'd be interested to know more about that substance abuse in relation to the counselor. But yeah, that is my video discussion.